Apparently they've got sort of a slit. Go down, yeah, like that. Is that wood in there? Apparently it's right above the fork. Okay, yes, I can see a hole there. Louise, so you've seen this one before, have you? Fork on the left. There it is. Can you see that hole there, Brian?
I can see plenty of holes.
Yeah, there we are. Down a little, I think. Could be that one, or one down just to the right of that. There's another hole. There we are. We'll just brighten the picture a bit. Could be that one. There's no mud in that one though. Could easily be in there. They like those sorts of knots. Anyway, I'm not going to dally here. Clearly nothing in there at the moment, or if it is, it's hiding in there. So let's go and see if we can find the roller. Hello Joey in Australia. You're wondering about the European rollers and when they're going to come back here. They normally come back quite late, Joey. I would say probably sort of mid-November time. They'll probably come back here. Roughly the same time as the woodland kingfisher. I seem to remember them coming back very late last year. I don't remember exactly the date, but I think it was around about the same time. I did just drive past a buffalo, but I'm going to keep going because I'd really quite like to see this bird. We can come back to the beefy. He looked like he was very rested. And there were also tracks, apparently, of a buffalo herd coming down this way, and guesses that the lions might be following them. Now, we are coming up towards the great valley of the Molawati on Central Road, and this is where, of course, the Nkuhuma Pride has been. Ooh, hello. A herd of elephants going across the road, everybody. Let's just assess them. Seem to be quite a few of them. I'll just roll gently. No, I won't. I'll move forward off this slope. There we are. A very large herd of elephants, this, I think. I really am amazed by how much condition these elephants have put on in the last few weeks. They're looking so much better than they were. Is that a tuskless cow there? I think she doesn't have tusks at all. This is a big herd. Lots and lots of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 odd. Oh, this is wonderful. Now, apparently the very little elephant, which was not found too far from here, was in Fang's herd. This doesn't look like Fang's herd. This herd has got 2 cows. That's interesting, with no tusks. Now, that is a genetic thing with elephants, unless they've broken them off. But she doesn't look like she's broken off her tusks. I think it's purely genetic, and so she's probably very closely related to the other one with no tusks. It does make her look quite a lot older, doesn't it? I don't think that's a very old elephant, though, necessarily. Gee whiz. What a wonderful herd. Let me just sneak slightly forward. There we go. It's very peaceful. The wind is blowing, of course, which I'm sure you can hear. Look how they disappear. Now, as we speak about this tranquil scene, we have a question from Bark Tranquility. That is an interesting name. A good one, actually. We haven't had a very... as in? Dark Tranquility. Goodness. Dark Tranquility. You say, do elephants suck their trunks in the same way that little humans suck their thumbs? Dark Tranquility, they do a little bit. Not for comfort, though, I don't think, but certainly they do taste their trunks very often. I think that's got a lot more to do with interpreting smell and using the vomeronasal organ, which of course is just above the sinus passages, and it helps them to interpret the things that they're smelling. I think that's why they do it. I don't think it's really much for comfort. Thank you, Dark Tranquility. The sun is coming out, everybody, which is rather a relief. We're still on our way to see if we can't find that roller. I'm going to drive a little bit more quickly. Hold on, Brian. I haven't seen this buffalo herd anywhere. But as I was saying, just before we found those elephants, this is where the Nkuhumas during the drought spent the best part of a month lurking about here, and we had them almost on tap. They'd kill a buffalo, devour it with the cubs, lie about for a couple of days, kill another buffalo and do the same thing. It was wonderful. But for the sort of smell of lion dung that began to pervade the area. Not a nice smell, Brian. No. Possibly the worst. Alright, I didn't quite copy that, but we're going to be going at some speed. While we do that to try and find the broad-billed roller, I think we're going to go across to Taylor. In fact, I'm pretty sure we are, because she's the only other feed out at the moment.
Right, so guess who I've just found. Have a look who's coming around the corner. It's the man himself. Hello, Rex. Hey, James, how are you? Are you guys well? Did they cross back out here though? Or they're going that way? Oh. Okay. Yeah? Okay.
So they went there, but I had the cute lambing boat was off road.
Okay, must I go check that side?
And also, yeah, there on that finish line, there's one elephant going that way. Also, look like two cubs.
Okay.
But most of the tracks.
Just discussing what's happening with the lions.
Maybe if you check down Blue Road, you see where the mud puddle is?
Yeah, yes.
Turn to the left on that clearing, somewhere they know for Garabet.
You think they're there? Okay. Thanks, guys. Well done to this incredible team, because they definitely have crossed onto our property, which is fantastic. It's good news for us. We're now going to try and give Rexon and James a helping hand. So, as you heard there, I don't know if you could hear Rexon very well. He's quite a distance away. It seems as though the tracks come all the way in, almost towards the dam, towards the Djuma dam camp. And it seems like they're possibly in some very thick vegetation now. We obviously don't want to risk anybody's life, so Rexon said he could not go in any further. It was just too thick and a bit too dangerous, especially if there is a buffalo that's roaming around that perhaps has been injured and that's in this area. You don't want to come across something like that, so rather be safe. And I think what's probably happened is with that terrible storm that came across, maybe they moved in between that, all the wind and all the lightning and all the thunder, and then perhaps it got a bit too much for them and they seek some shelter. And where is the best place to try and keep out of the wind? Well, if you're lower down, so if you go into a drainage line, it's a good place to be quite sheltered. So that's most likely what's happened. Now we're going to keep checking though, because it is nice and cool. So that doesn't mean that the animals are not going to start moving around. And we may even see a hippo by some miracle out of the water on a day like today. And we've done, and it's happened to me time and time again. You check the same road, you keep doing loops, and eventually someone decides to get up and move, and then voila, there they are right there. So we'll keep checking. We'll go check a little bit further west though. And I also want to see where Rexon said, he said there's one female's tracks that cross in with 2 cubs. So I'd like to have a look and try and find those tracks as well. So I'm also going to dangle my head over the edge. And that's pretty much what we're going to try and do, because I'd love to have a little look at these lions. Let's see if anybody else is around and down this way. Oh. It's making it, this bush is lovely and lush is what it is. It's making it very difficult now. It's just sort of scanned through. It's just amazing how we take everything for granted. And it's quite funny how we all say, oh, the bush is so dry. Everything is so dry and all those types of things. Now we're going, oh, the bush is too thick, we can't see anything. We just can't be happy. Now, lots of wildebeest and zebra tracks here. Let's see if there's any lion tracks. Doesn't look like it, nope. And of course lots of elephant tracks coming in and out. Just gonna take it easy. Nothing yet. That's what I'm hoping, is we're just going to catch somebody moving, which will make it a lot easier for us. Good scan. Now I've really got to use my eyes well. I'm just reversing. I'm going to jump out very quickly because I want to pick something up. Right, now this is interesting because I now need to get, oh, how am I going to do this? Hang on. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out how on earth I'm going to get out. Let me unplug my earpiece quickly like this. Yeah. It doesn't help me because I've still got to do this. Okay, well, we'll dismantle it. 2 seconds. Whoop. Trying to pull my lifeline out. Have a look at this. I've made a big mess. Look at this amazing creature. It's not a creature. Now, you probably would have seen it quite a bit with James in the tent. I think he's actually showed you the bulb from a tall white squirrel. Now, the elephants absolutely love to eat this particular bulb. Now, as tasty as it looks, unfortunately to us, it's quite poisonous. I always say when you're out in the bush and you are looking perhaps for something to eat, you shouldn't eat anything that looks like an onion. And of course onions have layers, so anything that's layered like this, rather keep away from it. Now I can't wait for the rest of this plant to grow if the elephants leave it alone for long enough. But it grows to a lovely green, long stem, almost, I'm going to move back, actually almost to the height of me. Now I stand at 1.72 meters, so I'm quite tall, and they will grow up to that length. So can you imagine? Lots and lots of them. You normally see them in sort of big open areas. You'll see all these squirrels growing up, and they get a lovely white, little bit of a blue tinge to the flower. But my favorite part is actually, so say you're off-roading perhaps for an animal. I'm going to have to jump in very shortly, but I want to tell you. And now when the squirrel has dried, so the whole stem has gone brownish color and it's now completely dried, and they've got little black seeds, and if you sort of shake them, they all come out, dispersing quite a bit. So we've got a vehicle now. I've caused a roadblock. I'm like the elephants. And as you're driving, you sort of hit them. You go over them and the seeds go everywhere. Well, hello, thank you. You very kindly went around us. I found seeds in my hair before, in the hem of my pants. It's completely bizarre, but we'll wait for, hopefully we'll find some. I'll find an area where they like to grow, and and then I will show you the lovely black seeds. They're quite pretty, and hopefully the flowers as well. That's another flower that I like. Now, you have to excuse me while I attempt to try and very quickly put my earpiece back in. It won't take me long. Right, it's like a challenge. This could be possibly another challenge for the Bush Olympics, is how quickly can we assemble ourselves. And I'm in. I can hear everyone. Okay. Well, no lion tracks here. Now, as we're driving along, and I'm showing you all these wonderful trees and plants, and showed you the silver cluster leaf. I know Daniel was particularly wondering, what trees do we see? Now, Daniel, we're very fortunate. There are a wide variety of trees and shrubs that grow in this area. Some of the most common ones, though, let's have a look here, is this tree on the left. Now, this is a bush willow, and this is a variable bush willow. And we get lots and lots of different types of the combretum. That's the genus that this tree is. We get the russet bush willow, we get the variable, we get the large fruited, and the list is honestly endless. And it's a very important plant. It provides a lot of sustenance to the various animals. We often see the elephants actually eating the bark quite often. You often see them pulling these trees over, and the roots are quite tasty as well. So what they'll do is they'd come to a tree like this. This one's a bit big though. Perhaps they'd do it to a smaller, sort of a more flexible tree, and they'd break it open and dink. Right, okay. I'll get back to you, Daniel. Let's go back to James, who's finally found the roller he's been looking for.
It's a purple roller, everybody, but it is not a broadbilled, and that is not for one instant to say that Genre didn't see the broadbilled here, but Brian and I became very excited when we saw a roller here, but it's very clearly not a broadbilled. Alas and alack. But what else we did find here, we are going to show you. You might just be able to see it up there in the bushes. And that is a hippopotamus that has clearly decided it doesn't wish to spend time lurking about in the water on a cold and blustery day like today. So it's come out of the water and it's lying there in the bush, and you do not want to stumble across that on foot. That can be a very nasty surprise indeed. So we'll go and have a slightly closer look at him. Just wanted to let him relax slightly. Now, for those of you who didn't see the broad-billed roller with Brent, the broad-billed roller is a magnificent-looking bird. It is a bright purple, not kind of the dull purple of the purple roller, and it's got a lovely golden beak. 274 while we head up towards the hippopotamus. That's it there. Number 2, the broad-billed roller. Sorry, Brian. I'm making it very difficult for you. There you are. Number 2, the broad-billed roller. And they're migratory, so we wouldn't see them all year round. Alright, let's pop up here. We'll still hope maybe to see the broad-billed roller, but also, everyone, the lions seem to have been heading this way. Rexon is tracking them, as is Taylor, and so is Mike giving a hand, and they seem to be heading this way. Now, hippo are not normally very confiding with vehicles, and that's because they don't spend that much time around them when they're not in the water. I'm going to stop here for now. We'll have a look at his great snout. I can hear much calling of rollers. I wonder if we shouldn't just play while we let the hippo acclimatise to us. Let's play the call of the broad-billed roller. That is a beastly noise. Well, it's certainly got a song about as attractive as its cohorts. We've got it. It's here. That's the purple roller again. Oh. It's interesting that the purple got so upset, though. It's obviously they're perhaps antagonistic to each other. Well, let's move a little bit further up here. I got my hopes up there, Brian, for the second time in one day. I'm just going to stop with the hippo again. Now, in a vehicle, a hippopotamus should be relatively calm. I wouldn't be coming anywhere near it if I was on foot. Hello, Anna Marie. You say one of your favourite things to see out here is a hippopotamus out of the water. It is interesting, isn't it? Because we don't see them much. That's normally all we see is those ears, eyes and nose. Oof, that is a really chilly wind, and that's why he's hanging around out of the water. I always feel slightly sorry for them when they're not in the water, but I mean there is water here for him to be in if he wanted to be in it. But you know, I've walked through this very bush where that hippo is sitting, I got goodness knows how many times. You have to be so careful. You can never ever let your guard down out here. There's the purple roller flying. I've seen two of them now. He seems to be going to sleep. Alright, let's carry on. Well, yeah, let's carry on. I'm just going to quickly tell Mike, who is, I know, desperately seeking hippopotamus. Mike, do you copy? But you only get one chance. Eye that closely. He's watching us quite carefully. Yeah, and as Louise says, it looks like the eyeball pops back into the skull as they blink. That is... I've not noticed that before. And there's an oxpecker, red-billed oxpecker. Angelina, we'll be able to answer your question shortly. You say the hippos give you a warning before they charge. But, they will normally make a loud grunting noise, but I don't think that they're particularly good at warning. It's highly unlikely it would charge the vehicle. It's certainly not impossible. But remember that for it to charge the vehicle, it's got to decide that we are A, so much of a threat that it needs to get rid of us, and B, it's prepared. It was so much of a threat that the risk of attacking something the size of this vehicle outweighs the sort of the benefit of leaving it alone, and I just don't think he's going to make that decision. Okay, let's head across to Taylor. She's got a couple of interesting species to show you. We'll keep having a look for this broad-billed roller, and then we might decide to go and see if the salalas aren't perhaps at Arathusa airstrip still.
So we had a giraffe that moved very quickly. Like you know, we are live, and unfortunately the animals don't always hang around. However, we found some kudu. There's actually quite an array of animals around here. We've got kudu, we've got impala, and we've got some waterbuck. But these kudu are posing lovely for us this morning. They also look a little bit chilly, not as cold as the impala though. And you can see those oxpeckers hard at work, nibbling and eating all the parasites that are in the hair of the kudu. But did you also see how fluffed up those oxpeckers were? And we had a little glimpse of them. Hello, impala. Oh, lovely. So I know you can see just behind those impala there's a very fluffy antelope, and that is indeed a waterbuck. And I know that Aaron from New Zealand was desperately hoping to see some waterbuck this morning. Well, here we go, Aaron. Here is your waterbuck. There's just one. There's actually a few more. There's quite a few of them there. You can see the rump of another one. They're all scattered out quite nicely. And it's quite nice to see a kudu, impala, waterbuck, and you have to just trust me on this one, there was a giraffe, all hanging around in the same area. It's quite sheltered here too. The wind doesn't seem to be blowing as much, which is quite lovely. And I'm just looking out. I'm hoping I'm going to hear the alarm calls of something. But I have not. The kudu always looking over their shoulder just to make sure, equipped with those lovely big sort of satellite-like ears that are able to pick up all the different noises in the bush and having a great time. Now, we're going to see the condition of the kudu, of the bushbuck, of the Inyala improve drastically, and now that the trees are producing these lovely new leaves. Remember, they are browsers. However, they do occasionally eat little nibbles of green grass that come through, but they prefer to eat the leaves. And of course the waterbuck have already had a bit of a head start with the early rain and all the nice green grass that's come through, so they're looking delighted at the moment that there's food around. But you know what I'd like to see? I love the waterbuck. I'd like to try and see a big male. What I'm going to do is I want to go up a little bit further on this road just to try and get a better glimpse at these waterbuck. Perhaps there is a male lurking in between them. Wouldn't that be nice? Now, I want to show you something. You can see straight ahead. I know that Sarah was wondering. Now, Sarah, this is one of the entrances. Can you see that little thatch structure over there? And there's a fence. We have now reached the most western boundary of the Sabi Sand. Up in the north, though, we're out on the northern edge, and then sort of that way is the Manuleti. That's quite exciting, don't you think? I told you that we were going to try and head up this way so I could show you a little glimpse. Now, just want to move a little bit further forward to try to find a nice gap of these waterbuck. There are quite a few of them. Let's see, I'm just going to try and creep up slowly because I don't want them to run away from us. But they have seen us, which is good. It's the only thing with the wind is you sort of need to announce your presence to the animals, otherwise they get a bit of a fright and then tend to run away. No, don't go into the thick vegetation. Right, let's do this. Here we go. There's a few fluffy waterbuck. Aaron, I hope that suffices. Here we go. You can see them there, just keeping a close eye on us. I love those shaggy coats. And what I particularly love about the waterbuck, and I know it's been mentioned before, but it's one of my favorite things about this antelope, is look at all that long hair around the neck. I think that's quite peculiar. We don't really see any antelope with very fluffy long hair other than when it's quite chilly. Then they erect all that hair. Now all those hairs around the neck are actually hollow. Can you believe it? And that almost acts as a flotation device for when the waterbuck swim. They're very good swimmers. They also have those sebaceous glands underneath their stomach. Sometimes you can actually see the secretion, especially on the males, which waterproofs their coat. Isn't that amazing? There you go. But no males, unfortunately. Perhaps a young male, but no big boys that I was hoping to see. It's just the ladies out this morning having I think it's Monday today, having a Monday brunch. And of course the impala. Oh, there we go. Yes. There we go. Look at those two sparring. Now those are youngsters. They look to be about a year or so old, and it was a very quick glimpse, but yay, finally, at least we got to see them sparring, as brief as what it was. There's a waterbuck trying to pretend to be an impala. Now, we're going to be seeing a lot of that, and I'm quite excited as these youngsters now sort of reaching a year old. Mom's sort of going to say, right, you need to go off on your own now, because I'm going to have another baby. And we'll see those young boys sort of testing the strength, you know. They don't need mom anymore. They can go out on their own. They're big and strong. And hopefully we'll get two big male impalas having a bit of a tussle as well. That would be quite entertaining. That's quite impressive when the males do fight. And as often as they do fight, it's quite amazing how we don't see it that frequently. So you've got to count yourself quite lucky when you do find animals having a little knock about each other. Now, seeing as we've been seeing so many giraffe, that's going to be something I'm going to be looking out is for the giraffe necking. I haven't seen that in ages, so that's going to be something quite fun. And I don't know if you've ever seen giraffe necking. I've never seen a real giraffe fight before. I've only just seen them playing. Rexon's looking for me. I'm just going to chat to him. Go, Rex. Let's see what he has to say. Ooh. Okay, we've got some news. Just quickly listening. Okay, copy, no matata Rexon. I'm on the cut line. I'll go check Gary cut line. I'll be there in a few minutes and I'll check for you. Okay, right. Fantastic. So Rexon said he's picked up on some more tracks moving out of that treacherous drainage line where he said was sort of impenetrable. They seem to be going towards their favorite spot, Gowrie Cut Line. Now we know, and I know James was chatting about it this morning, about how the lions over the past few weeks have been hanging around sort of Central, Hyena Road, Gowrie Cut Line. They love that drainage. So we're back on Buffels Hook Cut Line. We're just about to pass Sandy Patch, so we've got a bit of a distance to go. I am going to pick up the pace now, not worrying too much about the tracks, because Rexon seems to be still hot on the heels. He's great and he's incredible at what he does. He knows these lions so well, and obviously it does help when you know their behavior. And we're going to just get going a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going too fast, but we need to try and get there and have a little look. And perhaps we're going to get them. Maybe they've just been lying on Gowrie Cut Line this entire time. Right. I'm going to try and head over to Gowrie Cut Line as quick as I can. And I think while I do that, let's go back over to Mr. Hendry.
James Hendry has failed to find anything, including the broad-billed roller. So I think it's time I got out of the car, stretched my legs, found something to eat. Brian, what do you think? Are you hungry?
I am hungry.
Yes, I thought you might be. You have, of course... Ooh, hang on. My brazier's coming off. Everybody, I have to keep my microphone in a brazier. Okay, there we go. Now, the Nkuhuma Pride apparently has changed from the direction they were going. I thought they were heading this way, but they're obviously going back towards their favourite haunt, which I mentioned to you earlier. We will taste this. No, in fact we won't, because this is poisonous. So we're not going to taste that, Brian, unless you'd like to.
Please don't poison me.
Okay, I shan't poison you at all then.
Thank you.
Right? Well, I suppose I should tell you what we're looking at here. This is a senna, and they don't smell so fly. Then we've got also some combretum, some hairy combretum, some of this Rus gwenzii, or the thorny caree, and we've also got a hairy version of this, which is combretum apiculatum. Brian, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about the following leafy meal?
11.
11 out of 10. Good. Now, which one is the Rus? Okay. Now, I don't think the Rus is poisonous so much as... Well, I know that if it does cut you, if you get scraped by the thorns, you can get a bit of a swelling. So I think we're going to eat that one. And also on it, dwelling, lives the flea beetle. And the flea beetle, of course, has a larva that the Bushmen used to use to poison their arrows. So on the off chance that there is a toxin in there, we won't eat it. You may have a piece of this, Senna. I don't think it's going to taste very nice. This is the same family as the shambok pod. Horrible. That is disgusting. That really is disgusting. It's quite bitter and quite burny. It's quite burny, isn't it? Yes. Now, young viewers, please don't do this unless you're fully aware of what you're eating. This is a hairy and new piece of combretum. There we are. How's that?
Oh, so furry.
So furry. Is it nice? No, it's horrible. And I've just had the white berry bush, which is disgusting. So that really wasn't what one might describe as a delicious stop, was it, Brian?
No.
But it was an opportunity to stretch the legs.
Yes, it was.
And, do something other than drive around, which is what we've been doing, finding not very much today. So I must apologise for that, everybody. I'm obviously off slightly. Anyway, we might be lucky. We still have a bit of time left. We came past the Gallagher pan. There was nothing there except one very relaxed-looking lapwing. Unharassed, unfortunately, by a broad-billed roller. Hello, Carol in New York. Very good question. You say, why is it that so many of the bushes out here have thorns? What is the purpose of them? Well, Carol, the purpose of them is to ward off predators that want to eat them. And the reason we have so many thorned bushes is because we have so many things that like to eat them. That's the reason. And it's called a mechanical defense. So it's, well, I mean, that's pretty obvious. It's thorns that will spike things if they come and eat them. And many of the animals, of course, have adapted ways of dealing with those thorns. Few of the animals here seem to be bugged by them at all. But I think you'll find they'd be eaten a lot more if they didn't have thorns. And then you get something called chemical defense. And some trees, like the acacias, have both. They have tannin, which wards off predators and thorns. And then some just have the tannins. And many of the trees here, all of the combretums, which are the most common trees out here, have no thorns, but they have extensive chemical defense. Righty, we're going to go back towards Quarantine and then north, because there's nothing in the area that we've driven so far. There's a zebra. Thank you, zebra, for coming to see us. You see that, Brian?
I do.
Yes. 2 zebras. Good morning. Marvelous. That zebra looks very relaxed with life. Often don't. Nice sort of forelock there, if you see what I'm looking at there, Brian. Very nice. We had a question earlier for Taylor about what my favorite nickname for these things is. I think we had pajama donkeys, convicts of the wild, striped ponies, striped dressage ponies. I quite like pajama donkey, don't you? Brian, what's your favorite?
Sure.
Bush, what? Tiger horse. I quite like that one too. I think that's quite good.
I don't know.
Young stallion looks like he's almost giving us the hairy eyeball. Ah, Jeffrey in Texas, you say, what about prison ponies? Yes, I quite like prison pony. Yes, prison pony, tiger horse, pajama donkey. I think also that a zebra, that's very artistic, Brian. I think a zebra out here is much less donkey than it is horse. The Grevy zebra and the mountain zebras, they do look a bit ass-like, if you like. They've got longer ears. But I think a Birchall's or plain zebra looks much more horse-like. Yes, what a good-looking fellow you are. They are quite remarkable. Now, there's quite an interesting thing here. Just stay there on the muzzle. You see it's asymmetrical. That's quite odd. And it's interestingly, and I wonder if the stripes don't make a difference to this, it's interestingly something that you will look for in a potential mate. And you will notice it now that I've said it to you. When you look at somebody, and if you decide that you find them attractive, or even that they look nice, not necessarily that they're attractive to you, it's often because they have perfectly symmetrical features. And one of the things that you notice about people and animals almost immediately, and it's an instinctual response, is that if they do not have symmetrical features, if one eye is slightly higher or lower than the other, or a nostril is slightly bigger, as is the case with this one, it's immediately apparent. And what it indicates to your subconscious is that there may be some kind of genetic defect. So symmetry is enormously important when animals are looking for potential mates. You think he doesn't have a girlfriend, Brian?
Maybe he does.
Maybe he does. Except it's not really a he so much as a she, that zebra. But we're a modern show, so you could have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, really. But not very symmetrical nostrils. Sorry, milady. Good. Well, that was an excellent prison pony sighting. Let us continue and see if we can find something with claws and teeth. That would be nice. Hello, Bobby Chairs. Bobby Chairs, an interesting question from you, which I will get to once I have stopped next to what is clearly the stallion of this herd. That is an excellent picture of a stallion's bottom, everybody. Could we super zoom its bottom? Excellent. There we are. Very nice, Brian. Excellent bottom shot. Bobby Chairs, you say, is there ever an instance where an animal becomes overabundant in an area like this? I'm going to say no. Many will say that that's not true. Of course, the tradition continues. Bobby, you'll find that an area as big as this, 8.5 million acres, tends to self-regulate itself if human beings don't put water and food down for the animals. So we've had a drought, and if there was, in the absence of human-placed water and food, what you would find is that the animals self-regulated. They wouldn't give birth as much, there'd be a die-off of weaker or diseased individuals, and we'd have a time when it would look fairly underpopulated. Then, during times of boom, then animal populations would go up. And as the prey populations went up, so the predator populations would follow them, with obviously a slight lag, because that's how it works. And, this is interesting, zebras are very cross with each other. And so, Bobby, a big place like this, yes, if you got to a drought, it might, and you came into the area, you might think, oh gosh, there are too many animals here for the amount of food. But the point is that they would have got that way because there'd been enough food. And then they would die off naturally because there wasn't enough food. So to say that there's an overabundance of things in an open ecological system like this, I think would be incorrect. And certainly that was not the philosophy of the Kruger National Park for many, many years. They believed that they could tell what was an overabundance and an underabundance of certain animals, and it's proved categorically and in some cases catastrophically to be incorrect. And things like sable and roan and eland and sesame in the Kruger National Park have been wiped out by the competition from zebra and impala, because human beings have added water, and also because I think they certainly culled elephants for many years. And I think that's resulted in a profound, and I think that's brought a lot of animals up here. Hello, Tanner. There's no subtle way for me to answer this question from you. You say, how do you tell the difference between a male and a female zebra? I could waffle on about the fact that a male zebra has a thicker neck and he's slightly bigger, which is, they're both true, but unless you are looking at them compared to the female, it's very difficult. The only way, Tanner, to tell if it's a male or female zebra is to look between its back legs. That's the best way, and then also all behind its tail. And then you will see very quickly whether it's a male or a female. But, I mean, if you were to just see the bottom like that, it'd be almost impossible. Males do have slightly thicker necks. They are slightly heavier. They've got a slightly more hollowed back. But unless you're extremely experienced, the best thing to do is just wait for it to wag its tail, and you'll see immediately whether it's male or female. A stallion or a mare. One of those quirks of English that stallion and mare apply only to the horses. Where those words come from, I don't know. Right, let us continue. Hello, Crago or Prago? Drago. Drago, Prago or Crago? Oh, Drago, as in Khal Drogo. Drago, you say, what is that brown stuff on the elephant's, not the elephant, what's that thing called? The zebra. On the zebra's bottom. It's called a shadow stripe, Drago, and it's very well spotted by you. It's an interesting one because it doesn't occur on the plain zebra that are not in southern Africa. So if you go up into East Africa, they don't have that brown shadow stripe between the black and white stripes. And there the ears very clearly indicating displeasure. This is a very cross zebra. Let's watch this, see what happens when the other one approaches. It's a young stallion, that. And he's obviously been given a thump, quite possibly by one of the bigger mares, or by his father. But he's walking along with his ears flat back. Now he's happy. He's having a food. Having a food. I don't think that's English. Right, let's carry on. I'm quite looking forward to having a food later on, everyone. Ryan, you've had a food already today, haven't you? Ryan had one food of an apple. Hello, Impala. We're going to carry on, I'm afraid. We have seen a couple of you today. Right. I don't know how far Taylor's got towards Hyena Road. Let's go and find out if she's managed to have any progress with those lions.
I'm about halfway down Hyena Road from Buffelshoek Cutline. Now, I was just listening to Rexon on the radio. He's still on their tracks. He says they've crossed over Gowrie Cutline and they're cutting through the block straight towards Hyena Road. Now, I could have missed their tracks, or perhaps they are somewhere in this block. They have just graded the roads, so it's they're not as sort of flat as what they normally would be. The ground has been disturbed quite a bit, but making it difficult to track from a vehicle. Obviously on foot, when you've got your eyes looking straight down onto the ground, it's a lot easier. But I'm just checking a few of their favorite spots, so you may see me doing a lot of this today. Just trying to get rid of these tiny little flies that are trying to go up my nose and in my eyes, and I don't want them there. So we're just having a little scan. Like I'm tortoising along. I'm going that slowly, just letting the vehicle idle. And we're just scanning left and right. Like I said, if Rexon's on the tracks, that's great. We'll just keep an extra pair of eyes out, and perhaps we'll spot them like that. That would be really great. Now, it seems as though they were on the move, and while we were driving along, we saw a beautiful big herd of buffalo in the distance coming south, which is exciting. So I think by this afternoon, they'll hopefully be here. And if the Nkuhumas are around, I have no doubt that they will sniff those buffalo out and perhaps try and find them if they haven't caught one already. Maybe they already are sitting on a buffalo in a drainage somewhere, eating away peacefully. It's not very often that we get to... Oh, who do we have there? Oh, hang on. I just want to check. We've got one of the bee eaters. I think it's a white-throated. Can you see it still sitting there on the edge of that tree? Oh no, you've got to go up a bit. Yeah, there we go. Can I have a look? Yeah, it looks like it. Hey, let me just double check. I haven't seen half of these bee eaters in such a long time. Maybe it's even a European. Please excuse me while I brush up on the bee eater knowledge. Right, you had a quick look at that. Now, I want you to just double quickly just find the pages in my book. Where are you? Let's go 260. Now I'm going to check. You're going to help. You're going to look with me. Just quickly finding the page, and then we're going to see which bee eater that was. Now, let's look. I don't think it. Let's have a look at the European. What do you think? I don't think it was that one. I don't think it was. And which bee eater was it? Did anybody get a screenshot of that? I'm just sorry. I'm scanning through the page here. I saw it, but I didn't really have a great look. Sorry, I'm just quickly checking it. Oh, I wonder what that was. What does everybody think? What is everyone's guesses on which bee eater we just saw? It had a very white throat, didn't it? But it was very, very pale. It was sort of pastel-y in color, which I know the white-throated are quite common for having that sort of pastel look to them. But I didn't see very much black. It'll be interesting to hear what your thoughts are. Like I said, it was far away in the distance. I didn't get a good look at it at all. I was too busy trying to grab my book. But perhaps... Oh, hello. Let's see what's happened there. No. Something. Hello, Rusty. Right, we're having an interesting sound. I'm just gonna drive and see if this noise goes away. Right? I don't know. We're having a little bit of a Rusty. Rusty's making a funny noise all of a sudden. Okay, well let me just see. Are you gonna go away? No, why are you making that noise all of a sudden? Right, the gremlins have attacked while I quickly try and figure out what is wrong with Rusty and keep looking and trying to find out what that bird was, and perhaps please share some screenshots. I'd like to have a look and have a better look. But while I sort out the gremlins and Rusty, let's go back to James with the wildebeest.
Look at all the wildebeest, everybody. I'm just going to quickly tell them what I think's wrong with Rusty. It's the arm that holds up the bonnet that is now catching in the fan. That's what makes it sound like that. Everyone, there were sort of 8 or 9 wildebeest knocking around here. Let's try that again. And they've now headed off into the bushes, never to be seen again. Ah, there they are, Brian. Excellent wildebeest sighting. Bottoms disappearing. Well, if there are wildebeest here, we can be almost certain that there are no lions.
Beautiful.
It's amazing, isn't it? Excellent. Good. Right. We'll probably move on then. I think we'll move on, everybody. 8 or 9 wildebeest. No doubt the cow's pregnant. And hopefully to give birth to little baby wildebeest. And with any luck, they'll be as successful as they were last year. Certain. Daniel, You say, what is the best time of the year to see a gnu here in the Kruger? Sorry, just let me go back slightly. Daniel, I'm not sure that there is a best time to see a gnu in the Kruger. I would say if you were coming to look for general game and you wanted to see something like a gnu, then I would come during the winter months when it's a bit drier and the landscape's a bit more open. I think that will give you a better chance of seeing a gnu. But South Africa not known necessarily for their gnus. Many, many more of them in East Africa and I think up into Botswana as well. This, of course, is Combretum apiculatum, is it? Yes, it is. The red bush willow, the most common bush willow that we get here. And indeed the bush willow from which this entire kind of vegetation type gets its name. It's called red bush willow woodland. But look at the roots here. And this is what the elephants get when they push them over. They love these things. It's like, I guess, elephant carrots, parsnips or turnips, neither of which I find particularly delicious. But the elephants during the winter time really like them. And what's interesting, let's just have a look. I'm going to walk along the length of this tree because the roots, there are still roots in the ground there. This is a different tree. Now this one is dead. This one has actually been killed. Very few of them actually are killed. Most of them survive. And I think it's probably, I think that's a different tree. This one unfortunately met its end. Brian? This is like the bush, the pretzel of the bush. Can you see it looks like a bit like a pretzel?
It does.
Do you think it tastes like a pretzel?
Probably.
It's almost exactly like a pretzel, isn't it?
Exactly the same. Very salty.
Salty, delicious flavored pretzel. Yeah, not great. No. Better than the leaves, though. Better than the leaves. Brian's face, everybody, is, well, it's not like the face of a man who's just eaten his favourite cordon bleu recipe. Disgusting. Right, let's carry on. I really do feel more and more sorry for elephants, seeing what they have to eat. Oh, Fran, this is an easy question to answer. You say, what is the best tasting thing out here? Fran, a marula fruit is the best tasting thing out here. The marula fruits, which will come round about January or February in this area, maybe a little bit earlier, could be as early as December, they are delicious. Delicious fruits that come for about 3 weeks or so and then they're gone again. They're followed not too far behind by the sour plum, which is delicious as well. It's like a reverse sour worm. You know those sweets, Fran, that you get, that you put in your mouth and you go, because they're so sour, and then they turn sweet. Well, the sour plum is the opposite. It's very sweet on the outside, and then it goes very tart. But after that, things kind of tail off quite precipitously. There's not a great deal of wonderful tasting scoff to be had out here. Unless, of course, you're prepared to hunt a warthog and then cook it over a spit. Then you will find it very delicious indeed. Termites, if you like peanut butter, we could eat termites for peanut butter. They're very fatty, good to eat. Certainly chimpanzees are a huge fan of termites. I haven't seen baboons eating termites here. It's quite interesting. And our hyenas, I've just driven past the 2 dens on Aubrey's Road. They unfortunately have not returned from their extended sojourn into the Manuleti. Very sad, Brian. Hello, Angela. You're in Georgia, and you say you're wondering if there are any hyenas on this road. There's a fly in your lens, Brian. There we are. I've got rid of it for you. I'm so kind. Angela, yes, there are hyenas. We used to have a den here, and the den of hyenas is a termite mound, normally a very big cast of clay in which there are lots of holes, and the hyena clan will sort of centralize its activities around the den. They don't all live there. The youngsters and the females who've got youngsters will live there, and the rest sort of in an equal circle around there. But our clan moved north, which is not unusual. They went out of our traversing area, and that means we don't see them very often. If there's a kill, yes, we'll see them. At night, if you were to drive around here, you would almost certainly see a hyena. We find their tracks all over the road in the morning. So yeah, there are hyenas, Angela. A friend of mine got married in Georgia 2 days ago. I'm not sure which part of Georgia she got married in. It would seem that the problem with Rusty is not the simple fix of removing the flicking arm from the fan. Seems to be something more dire than that. Great. So you're going to be stuck with me for the next little while, everyone. They haven't found the lions yet, so we're not missing out on them. And if they do find them, we'll head over there as soon as we can. Let's have a look at Sydney's dam. Biggest what? I'm afraid, Louisa, I didn't get that. The biggest what species? Pest species. Pest, right. Pierre in Australia, as opposed to Pierre in Paris. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. You say, what is the biggest pest species that we get out here? Well, Pierre, depends how you define a pest. I suppose, for me, the biggest pest out here would be a mosquito, but, you know, that is entirely a natural part of the system. So anything exotic out here, there's so few exotic mammals out here, in fact, only one that I can think of, and that is the rat, European grey rat, Rattus. They do occur every so often out here. That's mainly in human habitation, though. So I'd guess that would be the biggest mammalian pest. But otherwise, I don't think that there are a huge number of sort of exotic pests out here. Many sort of diseases that weren't necessarily found here. The most obvious one being bovine tuberculosis, which is obviously not something that is an African disease. Oh, fish eagle. Well spotted, Brian. So, Pierre, mercifully, yeah, I wouldn't say that there are any real major pest problems here. I suppose there are a couple of plants, something called the deadly nightshade, not deadly nightshade, the, what's it called? It's a cactus species called Queen of the Night, which is a pest. That is a pest. There's a water buck. Brian, off to the left-hand side of the dam is a water buck. We were asked about them this morning. It was Aaron in New Zealand, I think you said. You hadn't seen one for a while. There's one. Now, we thought there'd been a bit of earthworks going on at Buffelshoek Dam and Treehouse and Twin Dams. Well, the earthworks have gone on here. Would have done the Hoover Dam proud, I tell you what. If we do get some proper rain here, this is going to look like Lake Placid. Nice to see a waterbuck framed with rubble behind it, don't you think, Brian?
It is the best.
It's lovely to see some old kitchen tiles behind the waterbuck. Hello, Olnik. A very appropriate question for the answer, for the question and, well, for the area that we are and the area where you are. You're in Michigan, and of course this could be described as Lake Michigan. It's almost the same size. I'm obviously talking absolute nonsense. It's nothing like the same size. But you also say, do we get crocodiles? Well, we've seen crocodiles here once. I've seen them once. That is under some dispute by the doubting Thomases of the staff, and indeed some among the viewers. But I saw a crocodile in this dam last year once, I think. Could have been.
Yes, you did.
Good. Brian agrees with me.
How does
Yes, you were. But that is not to say that you wouldn't find a crocodile here or in any of the other water here. And the very quickest way for you to kill yourself out here in Africa is to look at water, say, there are no crocodiles in there, and then go for a swim. They are devious dinosaurs of the deep. And one must be very careful of them indeed, because they can move great distances over the night, slip into the water unnoticed, and an area of water where you haven't had a crocodile ever will suddenly be inundated with the danger of those vile reptiles. And I mean, I know I can be quite disparaging about crocodiles. Obviously they have a place in the ecology, but there is something just quite devious about them. Nothing in there, is there, Brian? Well, not that we can see. I certainly wouldn't go swimming in there. And I often tell the story of a chap called Chris Buckus, who has made an amazing career of being a guide. And I think he works largely in Namibia at the moment. But I think you'll find that he only has one arm. And Chris lost his arm to a crocodile in water that he had been past hundreds of times. And he went into the water with his guests, or to get something to show his guests, and a crocodile grabbed him. And he lost his arm. Okay, let's head across to Taylor. I think they're both mobile again. I'm not sure if Rusty's up and running, but let's find out about those lions.
The gremlins have attacked Rusty, I'm afraid. However, with the commotion that the gremlins have caused, Viam's fantastic eyesight spotted this magpie shrike sitting on a nest. So that's what you're looking at. You can see it's a very untidy nest, not the neatest that I've seen. So they make a cup nest like most of the smaller birds do, but sort of with lots of sticks and bits of grass poking out of it. And apparently they quite like to make their nests in acacia trees, which was new information to me. I thought that was quite something. Now, this is the female that is sitting on this nest, incubating, the eggs. And they can actually have quite a few eggs, anywhere between 2 and 6 eggs. However, I'm not certain as to how many eggs we have over here. And it is only the female that will sit on them and incubate them. The male, we may see, he was here not so long ago. He races around and looks for food, and he'll feed the female. So that's his sole role during this. They are monogamous, and he'll race around, collect all little insects and bring them back. And I don't think he'll be too long, because she was shouting just now. I'm sure she's probably hungry, hard work sitting on the eggs. Now, obviously these young, when they're born, they're completely helpless. They're born naked, and they need all the help that they can get from their parents, so they will then feed them. And it's amazing how nature can just provide an egg, and then the egg is hatched to a helpless chick, and then after 19 days, can you believe it, this magpie shrike chick will be ready to fledge. It's amazing how such a short period of time the development can sort of just fast forward, and before you know it, they're adults. Now, usually when we see the magpie shrikes, I don't know if you've noticed, you normally see them in a big group. They're quite gregarious. I was doing a little bit of reading the other day, and I noticed it actually seems to be the same way with quite a few of the the sort of gregarious birds that hang out in big flocks together. Now, however many chicks survive, once they've hatched and once they've fledged, they're not fed by the parents anymore. They're actually fed by the chicks from the previous the previous season. How amazing is that? That is their role, is that they've got to feed the new chicks, and that's the sort of cycle. And that's possibly why we see so many together. is that maybe it is just one family that we're looking at and there are a whole lot of juveniles. Now, in this area in South Africa, most of the time these birds actually do their breeding towards January. Whereas here we seem to have got a bit of a luck. Like I said, they're normally only laying eggs from January. We're in October, so it's quite exciting. Though they did do a few studies where a few of the species of birds that they were watching, of course, did lay earlier. Like I said, there's always exceptions to every rule. And then, dark tranquility, what is it? The gremlins have got inside my mouth now. You can see Rusty's bonnet is open, waiting. So I'm so sorry. I'm a little tongue-tied this morning. So I think VM's having a good chuckle at me because I don't even think I could say my own name anymore. Well, dark tranquility. You wanted to know about the length of the tail on a magpie shrike. Does it serve any purpose? Now, normally it's usually the males that are beautiful. Perhaps can we get another view of, maybe we'll see that tail. Normally, it's the males that have those lovely long tails, and typically they would be used as breeding purposes. So, for instance, a pin-tailed wider, that's quite nice. During the mating season, the male gets a lovely long tail, very much like the magpie shrike, but then it loses those feathers when it is not breeding. And so, unlike the magpie shrike, though, they keep their tail feathers all year round. And it's both male and female. So I'm not sure exactly what purpose the length of that tail would supply, because I can't imagine it's a very good one. Imagine while they're flying, I'm sure it's a bit of an obstruction. And something that I've actually seen before is I've seen a serval leaping out of the grass. Now, this wasn't with a magpie shrike, but with a pin-tailed wider, as I was just telling you about. It leaped out of the grass, and this pin-tailed wider almost got away. But that lengthy tail that it uses to capture and entice all the females, unfortunately let it down. And the serval grabbed it by the tail and pulled it down into the grass and had a lovely meal. So I'm uncertain exactly what that purpose of the long tail is, other than normally for male for breeding purposes as a display. It'll be interesting to find out. Now, though, that we've got another nest, isn't this exciting? We've got Mr. and Mrs. Wahlberg. Now we can follow up on the nest of the magpie shrikes. And what I will do at some point, though, I don't want to disturb them too much, probably going to leave a rock or a branch or something on the road, because every tree sort of looks quite similar in this area, and I think we'll need a little bit of guidance and something that I'm definitely going to keep checking up, perhaps whenever I can, whenever I'm driving. That's very exciting. Now, obviously, I can't go anywhere. I'm trapped with Rusty. Steph and Opar are coming to the rescue, though. So we don't want to break Rusty. I seem to be having very, very bad luck with the vehicles. I don't think I drive them too badly. I'm quite nice to stroke them. I wipe them down. I'm very kind to feed them. You know, I'm very, very kind to the vehicles. So I'm sorry, Rusty, that you're not feeling very well this morning. And she was doing such a great job. It was just yesterday that I said to David how powerful and great Rusty is feeling. I think I may have jinxed it, but hopefully it's just a little problem that Opar can sort out. I have no doubt of his mechanical capabilities. He seems to be the mechanical genius around here, and he sorts out all problems that nobody else can sort out. And they love it. What else do we have around here? Okay. Thank you, Joey in Australia and David in Napa. You confirmed that you indeed thought it was a European bee-eater that we're looking at. I'm going to get the book again. And the reason why let me just turn the game drive radio down quickly. The reason why I also agree with you, I didn't get a good look, but I want to have a look. I'm wondering if it possibly wasn't a juvenile that we saw, because when I initially saw it, like I said, I only just saw it for a brief moment, and then I picked my book up and I took my eyes off of it. Let's go to 260 again. My memory is not too bad. And what I can also, I'm keeping an eye out because I think I can hear that male magpie shrike coming up. But if I see him land, we're going to go back and have a look at him. So, if we look at this bee eater again, let's have a little zoom. I apologize, my hands are probably covered in oil and all sorts of strange things. What I saw was a very pale throat, which is initially why I thought, white-throated bee eater down here. But we clearly didn't have any of the black markings on its head. Now, And I did think I saw a little bit of a pale brown on the top, on the crown of their head as well, but we didn't see any of the blues or the greens coming through. So I think what we were looking at was perhaps a juvenile, someone that hasn't, or a bird that hasn't quite got its adult plumage just yet, which is quite exciting. Is he back? Yes, I think so. Let's quickly go back. I think I can hear the magpie shrikes. There, did you see him? Or is it? No, she's gone now. That's bizarre. Where did you go? So I heard a bit of commotion. I heard the shrikes all chatting and calling away. And now she's got up and moved off of the nest. Maybe the male caught something fantastic and delicious and said, hey, you're going to have to come out to me and have a lovely dinner away from the kids one night. But like I said, oh my goodness, I'm hearing all sorts of things. I can hear an elephant pulling down a tree in the distance, but we are stuck here. Wouldn't it be nice if the Nkuhumas just came walking by? That's what I'm hoping for. I've got my fingers crossed, because we think they're somewhere around here. There's lots happening, but I'm trapped at the moment. I've got nowhere to go. I'm just having a little squiz. I'm really hoping that the shrikes, both of them, come back, because it was an amazing interaction that we had a moment ago, just while we were trying to figure out what was wrong with Rusty. That'll be quite exciting if they do come back. Well, now, I think Opa and Steph are not too far away, so while I prepare Rusty and we try and figure out what the problem is, let's go back to James and see if he's found anything interesting.
Hello everybody. We're driving speed because Universe, I'm afraid, has spat upon Taylor today. She's been working so hard to find those lines. Rexon has found them just south of where Brent and Jamie are snoozing it up at Inga's house at the moment. So we're driving there at quite a speed because we don't have too much time left, so we want to have a quick view of them before we head off to have our breakfast. While we drive there, I will tell you an amusing story. We drove into a clearing just around Impala Road, and I didn't see anything in it, and I became inspired to sing in an operatic voice, which I then did, and we came around a tree only to be faced with a fairly large herd of impala and kudu, who took immediate fright. They in fact became so terrified that they ran and scattered in all directions. And in fact the sound I was making was so horrific to the animals that a scrub hare emerged from its form, which is what a scrub hare lives in. It's a little pile of sticks and leaves, and it headed off for the eastern horizon at roughly the speed of a startled bullet. So that's what we've been doing since last you saw us. Brian and I then thought we were very funny and fell about laughing for a little while. Meanwhile, Rexon has found the lions and we're on our way there. And they're going south at the moment, so I think it's going to be... Yeah, they are moving. I think they've been moving all afternoon. Did you get any of that, Brian? I got who asked the question, but Louise, it sounded like Donna's question was which I don't really know how to answer. Could you give it again? Oh, thank you, Donna. Yes, you say you love the new names for the Birmingham boys. I quite like them too, I must say. I'm completely around to naming animals. I think it's a good idea, and let's just go through those again. If you happened to miss the fireside chat last night, the Birmingham boy, who used to be known as Birmingham boy number 1, is now called Nsuku, which means gold, and that is a sort of tip to the name we gave him with one stage, which was Blondie. He won't be blonde for long, so that's Nsuku. That's number 1. Number 2, Nana the warrior. It's N-H-E-N-H-A. Nana the warrior. And how do we recognize him again? Has he got the... No, he doesn't. I've forgotten how to recognize him. Hang on a second, I'll get back to you with that one. And then the third one, who is the one we've spent a huge amount of time with, that's Tino the tooth. He has got his Left lip looks like that, and so you can see his tooth all the time. So he's called Tino, the tooth, and then the next one is Mfumo, the authority, and he's the one with the great big crater in the left-hand side of his face. So that's Mfumo, Tino, Nena, and Nsuku. Those are the 4 Birmingham boys. I think they're lovely names. And we named them with a huge amount of consultation with the local people here. We've made sure that they are correctly spelt, that they're appropriate, and we are very satisfied with them indeed. And of course I think we were inspired to name them because our trip to the... So I am correct. So Nana is the one with the 2 scratches on his nose, is the equal sign on his nose. So that's how I would recognize him. I'm just listening to where the lions are going. Okay, best approach Twin Dams Road. We're on our way there as fast as we can. And we were inspired to name them, of course, because of that coalition of 4 males who we heard about, very famous coalition in the Mara. And they, of course, led by the inimitable Scarface with his missing eyelash or eyelid. Hunter, Sikio, ooh, buffalo. Sikio and, of course, Morani. Those are the 4 that we saw there. Well, no, we saw 2 of those. Quick look at those 4 buffalo. Very nice. We're going to carry on. We've only got a few minutes left of the drive. I don't know if we're going to see these things. They seem to be moving quite quickly. Can't hear what's going on the radio. Yes, I got absolutely nothing of any of those transmissions. We'll just carry on going. Certainly quite a lot of wind out here, Brian, wouldn't you say?
Very much so.
Little bit being like on a sailing regatta. Get out of the way. Thank you very much. Are you alright there, Brian? Oh God. Now, let me find out from Rex on. Rex, I'm coming down Wahlberg's Eagle's Nest Road. What's the best approach? Okay, copy, thanks. So they are just near here. There's Inga's house, where Brent and Jamie are probably having their first kick of the morning. They're laying, well, not quite under their beds, but near there. And they were chasing buffalo here, according to Rexon. We have 7 minutes left of the drive, which will give us a little bit of time with them. We obviously need to know where they are for the afternoon, though. Now, this afternoon is a rehearsal again for the TV shows. I don't think it's a public rehearsal. Is that correct, Wisi? So it's a private rehearsal, so I'm afraid no drive this afternoon. So doubly important that we find these lions. Well, Rexon's already found them. Okay, we're going to switch off here. There they are, just up ahead here. They're over here. Here we go. Orbs, I've only got 5 minutes left of drive, so you will make your way straight here. Right, they're just in here. I can hear Rexon moving. We've got them. Brian has spotted them. Shall we go off? They're heading straight towards Ingwe Alley here. Let's go onto the road here. Hooray! The cubbies! Well done, Rexon. He was being totally single-minded about this. Here we are, there's a lion. Hang on, everyone. Let's just try and get into a position to actually see this lion. Not easy. There we go. Well done, Rexon, and bad luck, Taylor. It's always nice to see that, don't you think, Brian?
The usual story.
The usual story. So, one lioness, one cub, the rest of them coming up behind. Moving, of course, because it is so cold, and I think that's why they really struggled to find them today, because I think they've probably been moving the whole drive. There they come. Look. I suspect those cubs are very tired. Look how many there are. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are all there, aren't they? Can everyone see 8? Oh, they're so sweet. These cubs are healthy. Yes, they have that one there on the right hand side. Does look, it's still got like looks like it's got mangy ears, but they still look fat and well, you know. And the bigger ones don't seem to have caught whatever that is on the back of those little ones' ears. That's definitely why he's scratching. And I think that's purely a function of how well they eat. There was one stage about, what was it, about a year ago, the Nkuhuma Pride was a very sad state of affairs. 5 lionesses, no babies. They'd just lost 3 of their number. Now, completely different. I'm afraid we've only got 2 minutes left, so I think we'll sit right here and just enjoy it, watch where they go. I think they're heading off towards Ingwe Alley, down possibly towards Philemon's Dip after that. I think they'll settle in a drainage unless they manage to find something to hunt. Only the 2 lionesses, is that right? No, here comes the 3rd. She's coming just behind Rexon's vehicle. You can see a little bit mangy on the back of those ears, but certainly not around the whole facial area like those Styx cubs had. So I think these ones will be fine. That is one of the teddies though, isn't it? There's quite a lot of scratching, but in any animal there's a lot of scratching. We'll see how this progresses. Alright everybody, that is going to be it from us. A big thank you to Brian today. Thank you, Brian, and your thumb. Big thank you for Taylor for doing all the effort for these things, and Rexon, of course, and of course to VM and the final control. Mostly to all of you for coming along on this blustery cold day. Thank you for staying warm and stayingly being with us. Remember, unfortunately no drive this afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow at 05:30. Until then, stay safe and happy. Bye-bye.